It is Saturday afternoon. You have been looking forward to this all week. You made a plan. You drove somewhere. You paid for something. You sat through it. And now you are home, scrolling through your phone, vaguely disappointed, wondering why you do not feel as good as you thought you would. This is what fun looks like. In 2026. Scheduled, purchased, reviewed, forgotten by Monday. Ancient humans had no plan, no budget, no reservation, no ticket, no app, and they were having more fun than you have ever had in your life. The evidence for what they actually did, when survival stopped for the day and the hours were theirs, is one of the most genuinely surprising things archaeology has ever uncovered. Let's start with how much free time they actually had. In 1963, anthropologist Richard Lee spent months tracking the daily activities of the Jew/Hoansi people of Botswana, one of the last groups living in a way that closely resembles how all humans lived for most of our existence. What he found upended everything researchers assumed about prehistoric life. Adults spent approximately 15 to 20 hours per week on survival activities. Hunting, gathering, preparing food, everything else, roughly 100 hours per week, was unstructured time. For context, you work approximately 40 to 50 hours per week. Then you commute. Then you handle errands, obligations, and the thousand small tasks that modern life generates automatically. By the time you reach actual leisure, you have maybe 10 to 15 hours per week, and most of that is spent recovering from the rest. Ancient humans had 100 hours. You have 15. The question is what they did with it. The first answer surprised everyone who found it. They made art. Not accidentally, not crudely, not as a side effect of something else. Deliberately, skillfully, and with extraordinary commitment of time. In 1994, explorers discovered Chauvet Cave in southern France. Inside were paintings created roughly 36,000 years ago. Horses, lions, woolly rhinos, bears, rendered with perspective, movement, and shading that would not look out of place in a modern gallery. Someone carried pigment deep into a cave, mixed the colors deliberately, spent hours, possibly days, in flickering firelight, painting animals on stone walls with a skill that took years to develop. Not for food, not for survival, for something else entirely. In 2008, researchers discovered a vulture bone flute in the Chauvet Cave in Germany, dated to 40,000 years ago. 5 finger holes, precisely spaced. Whoever carved it understood pitch, understood melody, had practiced enough to know what sound they wanted before they started cutting. They made music, real music, not noise, music. And in Blombos Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found something dated to 100,000 years ago that stopped researchers entirely. Perforated shell beads, tiny holes drilled through seashells, clearly meant to be strung together and worn. The nearest coastline was 20 kilometers away. Someone walked 40 kilometers round trip specifically to collect these shells, then spent hours drilling perfect holes through each one with a stone tool, just to look good, just to feel something when they put them on. But the evidence does not stop at individual creativity. Ancient leisure was not a solitary activity. It was communal, social, and structured around the group in ways modern entertainment rarely manages to be. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner spent years recording conversations among the Jew/Hoansi and found something striking. During the day, conversations were practical. Who saw tracks where? What plants were ready? Who had not shared fairly? But at night, around the fire, 81% of conversations shifted completely. Stories, myths, jokes, songs. Accounts of things that happened far away and long ago. Explanations of how the world began and what it meant. The campfire was not just a heat source, it was the original entertainment venue. And everyone in the group was both performer and audience simultaneously. When someone told a story, everyone listened. When someone started singing, others joined. When someone made a joke that landed, 20 people laughed together in the dark, in a way that bonded them more deeply than any shared daylight activity had. This is how human culture was actually built. Not in cities, not in schools, around fires, at night, through stories told so many times they became the shared memory of the entire group. They also played. Across every hunter-gatherer group that anthropologists have studied, play is documented as a consistent, deliberate adult activity, not just something children did. Wrestling and physical games appear in the ethnographic record of groups across Africa, Australia, and the Americas, not as competition with winners and losers who carried that outcome into the next day. As play, joyful, rough, communal, with laughter as the primary measure of success. Adults played with children the way modern parents occasionally aspire to. Not as a scheduled activity, not as educational enrichment, but as something genuinely enjoyable to both parties. Children among the Hadza spend the majority of their waking hours in completely unstructured play with mixed age groups. Adults join when they feel like it. Nobody supervises. Nobody structures. Nobody enriches. They just play until they stop feeling like playing. And then someone makes dinner. There was also decoration, ornamentation, the deliberate and time-consuming project of making yourself beautiful. Red ochre, a pigment made from iron-rich clay, has been found at human sites dating back over 300,000 years. Long before the first paintings, long before the first jewelry, ancient humans were grinding ochre into powder and applying it to their skin and hair. Not for camouflage, not for practical benefit, for beauty, for identity, for the specific human satisfaction of looking at yourself and feeling that you have made something better. Across living hunter-gatherer groups, body decoration is documented as one of the most time-intensive leisure activities. Braiding hair, applying pigment, crafting and adjusting ornaments, admiring and commenting on each other's appearance. This is not vanity. This is one of the oldest and most consistent forms of human play. The body as a canvas, the group as the audience, the daily ritual of adornment as both art and social bonding. So here is what an ancient afternoon of fun actually looked like. The hunt went well yesterday. There is enough food. Nobody needs to go out today. Someone picks up a bone flute and starts playing something slow and wandering. It is not a song exactly. It becomes one as others start to hum along. Two people wrestle lazily in the afternoon sun, not trying to win, just moving their bodies for the pleasure of it. Children run through the scene without being told to stay out of the way. A woman braids another woman's hair with a concentration and care that makes it feel like making something important. Someone is drawing on a piece of flat stone with a stick of ochre, an animal, a person, something in between. Nobody is performing. Nobody is watching. There is no audience and no stage. Everyone is just here, together, doing the things that humans do when they have time and safety and each other. The sun moves. The flute stops and starts again. The wrestling ends in laughter. The children come back with something they found. A strange stone, a feather, a piece of bark shaped like something else. Everyone looks at it. Someone makes a story about where it came from. By the time the fire is built for the evening, nothing has been accomplished. Nothing has been produced. Nothing has been posted or reviewed or remembered in any permanent form. And it was one of the best afternoons anyone in that camp had ever spent. Here is what this means for you. You have access to more entertainment than any human in history, more music than you could hear in 10 lifetimes, more stories than you could read in 100. More games, events, venues, and experiences than any civilization has ever offered its people. And you spend your Saturday planning, paying, driving, sitting, and coming home feeling like something is missing. What is missing is not better entertainment. Better entertainment is not the answer. You have the best entertainment ever made, and it is not enough. What is missing is the thing that made ancient fun actually work. No performance, no audience, no documentation, no cost, no commute, no review, just people who knew each other completely, doing things that felt good, in a place they all belonged to equally. A flute, a fire, a story that everyone already knew and wanted to hear again. That is what fun was for 300,000 years. And somewhere between then and now, we decided it was not enough. We were wrong. If this stayed with you, if any part of it felt true, drop a comment below. Tell me which moment hit hardest. Subscribe for a new video every week. And if this was worth your time, you know what to do.